knows what neurodivergence means? Yeah, quite a few. Awesome. To be frank, I didn't know about it until I met Anusha and I started talking to her. So Anusha, can you explain us something about neurodivergence, what it means?
Can she use the microphone so that we can hear? Oh, turn it up. Okay.
So, neurodivergence, like as many of you know over here, I'll reiterate it. Neurodivergence is a term that's used for people who think differently than the most. So it's like having different phones, like you have Apple and Android, and it's different phones with different settings, but different doesn't mean weird. It can also mean better. So let's start with how the WIDS Datathon context, and people who have already participated, you know what we were given. But the theme this year was unraveling the mysteries of female brain, and it was to predict sex and ADHD diagnosis on children from whom the data was collected. And the data set consisted of MRI data, MRI brain connectivity data, demographics, and parenting surveys. Honestly, when I first saw the data, I just froze for a minute, because those parenting surveys I have answered numerous times in a doctor's office for my daughter. So it became more personal to me now when I started looking at the data. It was more personal to me because now it was no more a data. It was the answers that I was seeking for, and it was my mornings in an Excel form, or the rows in spreadsheet were more personal to me now. And there is also a study that the reason WIDS launched this year was, there is a study that many of us think that ADHD is more prevalent in boys, but that's not the truth. And medical surveys also suggest that it's not the truth that boys are more prevalent, girls could also have ADHD. Can you elaborate more on that, Ritu?
Sure. You see this chart? As a mom and an analyst, I find this concerning, and I'm also filled with curiosity. Do you see an imbalance over here? The boys dominate this graph over here. 800 boys versus 400 girls were brought in for studies for ADHD. How do we fix this imbalance? The thing is, the boys exhibit a symptom of being aggressive, right? Of being, whatever you say, like aggressive and out there. They're jumping off the couches. And the girls, they display a symptom of being shy, being reserved. There was a study done in 2019 by the Frontiers of Human Neurodivergence, and in that study they said that girls predominantly exhibit a symptom of being shy, being inattentive, and it's also known as quiet distraction. You might see a girl sitting over there and think, oh my God, she's so shy, but she might be suffering down below. So what's happening over here is, this graph is not talking about how many of us, of the kids, have ADHD, but how many were unseen, the girls who were unseen. So 400 were unseen. Why? Because they were just some exhibiting symptom which is not prevalent or seen for everybody. Anusha?
Yeah, so that's why, so you see the imbalance of how the total number of cases that were reported is very less in girls. So to correct this, WIDS came up with a concept that's called as double weighting, and it's like to show the unseen, or to show the underrepresented girl population. They introduced double weighting, which means that if you predict correctly a boy's ADHD, it's 1, whereas if you predict a girl and an ADHD, it's counted as 2. So this makes sure that the underrepresented girl population is shown up. And when I thought about this was again personal to me, because I've always double weighted in my life when it comes to my daughter, because I always think once for me and once for my daughter. And I think most of the parents do that. And when you are a neurodivergent parent, you think even more. So I've always done that double weighting, and to see that as a concept in data science, it was very fascinating to me. I'm not a data scientist, I'm not a data person, but to see that as a concept, it was like how it connects you to the real life. And so we started off with that, and then I thought about this, like when you do double weighting in your models, you have fairness in your models. You are balancing the imbalance. But think about it, if you double weighted every decision in your life, or everything in your life, you will be more empathetic, towards others, towards neurodivergence. So that makes a better world. So that was a hidden symbolic thing that WIDS has given us to double weight the girl ADHD cases. Now, let's talk about when we started analyzing the data and then we come up with feature importance, the EDA and all that, and then you come to the point of feature importance. We saw these were the important factors like hyperactivity, attention score, social behavior, parenting surveys, MRI and all that. And when you see the graph, you think, yeah, we have found an answer to ADHD. Like if somebody is hyperactive, then it means they have ADHD. But that's not the case because, like she mentioned before, boys show the hyperactive symptoms, whereas girls show a different kind of inattentive symptoms, and that's not always recorded. So you can see how the data is collected, like the pyramid over on the right side, where the child's behavior, like the parent notices there is some difference with the child, and then parent perceives that, and sometimes the teachers also make a referral diagnosis on that, or they send a referral to the pediatrician, and then you go to the pediatrician, and then that's where the data is collected. But from what we analyzed and what we had looked up at different medical journals is that girls who are masking are even dropped before the data collection stage, which means in the referral diagnosis stage, they are missed. Like the teachers cannot find out that a girl is having ADHD because she might show inattentive symptoms, she might be daydreaming in the class, and they might be just called as a shy girl instead of having an ADHD symptom. So this is what we noticed, that there is not only an imbalance in data, but there is an invisibility in raw form for the girl data. Now, coming on to some of the data that was given to us, this is just a snapshot. We were given close to like 30,000 rows, 30,000 features, but some of the important ones here, like is called the Alabama Parenting Questionnaire and the Strength and Difficulties Questionnaire. And to many people, or even to people, data scientists, they might think these are just rows with a number attached to it, but these are my routines, these are my mornings, or each one has an explanation that I have. Like for example, the SPQ difficulties total, it's like, it's just a number which says if it is overall score of 17 means it is like hyperactive. But I know, I've seen it on real life that the difficulty is when she's trying to read something academically, she's not able to read when she's 5. That's when I know it's just strength and difficulties total. And for example, hyperactivity is not always jumping off the couches, but when she moves to a new place and it's new to her, she starts clapping her hands, and I know that that is hyperactivity. So these are just numbers to anyone that is new to this, but these numbers reflect the patterns that I live every day. So a quick question to you, Ritu. Can you explain your day in life of a neurotypical parent, especially the school mornings, which are like a lot of chaos around?
Sure, Anusha. As a mom of 2 neurotypical girls, my days are as same as you guys are, any moms over here. It starts with a scramble. Wait till they wake up. They eat their food. They have all the homeworks in their backpack. And of course, they wear a hoodie while it's chilly outside. They need a hoodie. But I have to confess something. Nobody listens to me. There is one person who controls my house. They set the tone of my household. The influencers, the social media gurus. If they say baggy jeans are in fashion, so that's what we are going to buy. And if I ask her what happened to the skinny jeans which we bought last month, they'll say, Mom, they're so out of fashion. Don't you know that? And that famous eye rolls the girls give me. And same for breakfast. Somebody said chia pudding is in fashion. That's what we ate that day. Somebody said, oh my God, those almond pancakes, have you tried them? That's what we ate that day. So it's different every day. Every day they want to research and try something new. But at the end of the day, when they are finally gone, I feel a sense of victory. Phew, done and dusted. How about you, Anusha? How does your mornings look like?
Yeah, thanks for that, Ritu. And my mornings are similar to what you said. We have the same chaos, but my mornings actually start the night before, because you have to be all planned for the planned and unplanned. So my mornings usually start because my daughter likes routine, so she needs to have the set routine every day. So like you said, influencers set the tone. For us, routine sets the tone of the day. So she needs to have the same breakfast every day, so I need to make sure I have that batter ready before it even gets done, and things like that. And then she likes very soft dresses, so she doesn't see how the dress looks on the outside. She wants something that is soft, and that could be the dress that I have been washing every day because she likes that one color and that one type of dress. And she has an AAC device, which is the voice for her. So she speaks through the AAC device, so I need to make sure that it's all charged because when she goes to school, she needs changes, she needs that device to talk. So all of these things, like this might look like small routines, but these things might put her off. Like for example, on Monday mornings we have the garbage truck coming in, and that sound puts her off because her school bus is at the same time. So small things like this, like they get an overload of sensory stimuli, and that causes her to throw off. So it's not being about picky or not being able to take sounds or lights, new lights or something like that, but it's a sensory overload that she gets that puts her off. So as much as I'm prepared to be for the planned events, I should also be planned for the unplanned meltdowns that will happen any day. Yeah. But do you know like why girls in specific are missed, like the study that you did, why they were missed?
So as a mom of two girls, I have seen firsthand how girls suppress their emotions, how they copy peers, and they mask their struggles inside. They don't show it to the outside world. And that's what's happening over here. We have girls masking their inattentiveness by just seeming as if they're daydreaming. And also, unfortunately, our diagnostic tools are geared towards more symptoms for the boys, which is again hyperactivity. So imagine a class, we have two kids, and most probably both of them have ADHD, but one of them is a boy and the other is a girl. The boy exhibits the symptoms of hyperactiveness. He's jumping around the room, making chaos, creating ruckus. And there's this another girl. She also has symptoms of ADHD. She's looking outside the window, daydreaming. That's what you will feel like, as if she's doing. But guess what? The teacher will pick. She will pick the boy because he was being disruptive. And that's how we are trained to pick up ADHD. So what happens? The girl remains unseen. The boy gets picked up to be referred for the ADHD diagnosis. See over here, this is alarming over here. This slide over says that the average age of diagnosis for a boy is 7 to 7.5. But for the girl, it's age 12. You see, 5 years later, a girl is diagnosed. And another alarming fact, 80% of autistic girls remain undiagnosed by the age of 18. Can we take a pause over here and understand? An entire childhood passed away of a girl without being diagnosed. Isn't that alarming? Isn't that something we should all think about?
But to add to your point, so you talked about how the missed ADHD in girls passes by without even being diagnosed through the entire childhood until 18. But on top of that, you have other ripple effects as well. So the first ripple is the parental burnout, because they have to be constantly advocating for the kid at school, at doctor, and everywhere. So that is the first ripple. The second ripple is sibling neglect. So siblings might feel a little bit off because their sister's priority takes precedence over theirs, and they learn empathy at a very, very young age. The third one is workplaces. All that the workplaces might see is like an inattentive person, or a person who's not speaking up in the calls, or a person who's not able to take more responsibilities, but nobody knows how much they must have been running a marathon before night, like the way I've done. So that goes forward to the workplaces as well, and communities where people who do not have a lot of awareness of neurodivergence. Even now, we are happy that many of you here know what is neurodivergence, but it's very rare to see people who know what is neurodivergence and how it is in the childhood and all that. And so there's a constant advocacy for the parents to face that as well. And about workplaces, I need to mention a point about my personal thing is like I've always had a very good team who have been always supportive of my caregiving load, and they know exactly when I say I need 2 minutes for my meeting to join my meeting. They know that I've been running a marathon and I need some time to unwind. So I've been on a very good team. But when you open up more, you have more empathy in the workplaces. So what we can do as a community?
Yes, of course, what we can do. If we are really looking for real solutions, we all know we have to work together. It should start in school with early interventions. The teachers need to be trained that they have to see that symptoms of that inattentiveness and not just label it just as being shy. We also, as workplace colleagues, we have to have empathy. Even if your co-worker is a neurodivergent in some sense, or a parent of a neurodivergent, empathy and kindness goes a long way. And of course, as data scientists, we have to make sure we have a fairness-driven model. And our research does not leave the unseen. And of course, make sure we don't have any biases in our data set.
Yeah, and adding to that, to the parents of neurodivergent kids, if anyone of you are here, this is my personal request is to speak up, because once you speak up, you make more room for empathy, and you share your caregiving load to your team and to your managers, because once you start speaking up, you make more room for empathy, and that's how it's shared among all of us. And as a community, we need a change, like you mentioned, for everyone. So I'm coming back to my double-weighted mantra that I spoke before. So in data science, we use double weighting to have fairness in data. What if everyone double weights empathy? It's going to be a great world for everyone to live in. And the first step towards that is awareness. So that's why we are thankful to WIDS, especially this year, because they always come up with different topics every year, which talks about sensitive issues, often overlooked issues, and the ones that really need attention to. And since we participated in WIDS Datathon this year, we learned a lot about it. And even last year, it was about predicting breast cancer awareness. So we learned a lot about how breast cancer is missed, or why some people have access to breast cancer treatments and why some do not. And next year is going to be about the wildfires. So if you have not participated in a datathon, don't think about like you do not know Python, or you do not belong to the data science, or you do not know the concepts of data science. Just go ahead and join it, and especially the BofA datathon team. They have always been very supportive. It's a great gang of girls who have always been supportive of whatever you've done, and we have mentors who help you in learning Python and all that. And Ritu, can you share a little bit about your experience this year?
Yeah, sure. So I'm one of those who doesn't know Python. And when I joined, I said, oh my God, am I the odd man out? But I had such a good support, and that's how I met Anusha. That's how we create networks and more families and friends. She motivated me, NJ motivated us, he was the mentor before. But there's one fact which I want to let everybody also know about the ADHD. There are 3 types of ADHD, don't forget. There's the one which is the inattentive one, the second which is the hyperactive one, and there's a third with a combo. They are both fidgety and daydreamers at the same time. So let's remember there are more ways of ADHD than one.
Yeah, and awareness is the first step towards change. So I hope we created some kind of awareness today about ADHD, like what WIDS wanted really to do. And so this is what we want each of you to carry forward from this session. I know I told in the first it's not a Python class. So this is what we want you to carry forward, like in your schools, in workplaces, in communities, everywhere. Double weight empathy, double weight the unseen. Because when we do that, we are creating an inclusive world, and we are creating more room for empathy, which makes the world like a better place to live. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. So we appreciate it so much. And if you like the class presentation, let's make sure Jessica knows about it.
Any questions?
I'm understanding that ADHD is unseen with women, right? And young girls. when they come into the workplace, right, and they have had no diagnosis and they have no resources, is the bank at this point or anyone, any employers offering resources for the young ladies that are coming in that have been sitting out and diagnosed?
So bank has a mailbox that's called as the neurodivergence at BofA.com. So if they're not diagnosed by the time they join, or if they are displaying symptoms, they can self-nominate and they can talk to their team and they can do some kind of operations for that. But this is the neurodivergence at BofA.com. That is the accommodation. And there is also a PCN network, the parent and caregiver network, and there's a special wing called as a special need parent wing, and you can become a part of it. And I learned a lot of things by being a part of it. Like it's a community which tells you, like they have kids who are older, they have adult children, so they pass on their experiences, and that's really helpful for people with younger kids.
Very good question. Thank you.
So the answer is yes, take advantage of it. All of us need to be honest, whether we either know we have people that are neurodivergent on our teams, because situations do change when the roles they're in, the people they're working with, because it does evolve, and we all learn, we're all better from it.
I have a question. Just curious, has the bank done any research on internal data to the amount of women or even men who are neurodivergent working internally here at the bank or in different sectors?
No, nothing that I know of, but you could probably check with Jessica. She might be. Good question.
So no questions. Are there any questions on WebEx?
No.
Okay, awesome. So we come to the funny, not funny, the most sought after section. We'll have a raffle and we'll ask a question and give away an umbrella to the lucky winner. So Anusha, this time I'll give you the mic. Can you ask the question?
Okay, so since this session was about neurodivergence, I want to know if there is any neurodivergent parent over here. So you win the raffle.
Selfies.
Yes, we should take a selfie also. That's a good one.
Yeah, you guys take it with us in the back.
Who's a good selfie taker? I take some.
Anusha, you're